So, do you ever pause, stare out the window in the middle of the day like I do, and wonder if there's more to life? Well, that's your inner being speaking. We are all being nudged toward understanding our underlying purpose. So, how is this accomplished? So many people ask me, how do I know what my purpose is? What do I know what I'm supposed to be doing here? And this is done through the process of alchemy. Hey there, my name is Dr. Dallas Bragg. I'm an intuitive life coach here to help you break free from repeated patterns in your life. I'm going to compare the last 5 years of my sobriety from crystal meth to the journey of the 5 stages of alchemy in this video. So, illusion. Life experience is by chance, and you're a victim of circumstance. Reality. Every person and situation is being called into your life by you, for you. Your soul is actually yearning for the alchemic process. Alchemy is an ancient term for the process of transformation. And excuse my voice, by the way, just getting over COVID. Alchemists were known for turning base metals like lead into gold. So personal alchemy is turning life lessons into new identity. In other words, basic situations into divine occurrences. So, do you know what great lesson you're called to learn? Some people call it the soul contract or your karma. Recently, I celebrated 5 years sober from crystal meth. And in this 5 years, I have begun to understand what I'm here for. So in retrospect, I realized the sobriety process paralleled the stages of alchemy because I began as a base metal, representing the darkness of ignorance, and I ended as a gold, representing awakening to my purpose and to the light of awareness. P.S. You don't have to be an addict to enjoy this process. So let's talk about the first stage, which I call Death Becomes You. So lasting sobriety requires a committed decision to allow your old self to die. But this isn't a process. It isn't an easy process. It's not a quick one. 6 months in, after the dust had settled, when I was not homeless anymore, I was reunited with my kids, we had got a house, things were good, but they were boring. My old self reemerged one day right there when I was washing dishes. I wanted to use. So the panic of relapse rose in me. I ran outside into the woods. I looked up in the sky and I just begged for help. In an almost audible voice, I heard, "Look at that tree. That is what you have to do." And to my right, I noticed a fallen tree. It was rotting in the ground. And that's when I knew that I had to die to everything I knew about myself. So here's some questions to ask yourself. How can you bring yourself from living in darkness, of being a victim of your whims, to waking up to the light of awareness? And when I made a choice to turn to my higher power instead of relapsing, my spiritual journey really began. My eyes were opened, and everything I knew to be true about my persona had to die. But it wasn't instant. But how is that related to your current situation? So the next phase is rose-colored glasses, is what I call. The day in the woods, it marked the beginning of my spiritual journey, but life became so bright and so sunny. Victories were one after the other. I finished rehab, I graduated drug court, I got a new job, my criminal charges were expunged, etc., etc. I really thought I had it all figured out. I started several blogs and websites because in my mind, it was time for me to help other people because I had beat drug addiction. And I thought I was ready, but it wasn't long until I discovered that I was not quite ready. But in sobriety circles, we call this stage the pink cloud stage because you see everything through rose-colored glasses. Everything's pink and happy. It's a great place to be temporarily, but in reality, reality sets in. You realize the work is just beginning. So in this honeymoon stage of alchemy, it can be deceiving. After you've made some positive decisions in your life, or you've experienced a great epiphany about your trauma, you may feel that you've done the work, you have it figured out. You may feel that in that moment, and therefore let your guard down. It's during this stage, though, it's important to journal, because the experiences that you're going to have during this stage need to be chronicled as positive experiences, because they're going to be anchors for the next phases. So the next one is what I call the Great Purging. This was year 3 of my sobriety, and it brought shadow work. Awareness is the light that reveals our authentic self beneath the personality facade. And I started to shine light, and understanding illuminated parts of me that were difficult to face. So through regular meditation, it enabled me to become an objective observer of myself. In other words, I began to see who I was, free of judgment, only love. This exploration led to relapse, which was actually the best purge that could have happened to me. Confessing those hidden parts, it required humility, transparency, and once I faced them, I could integrate them. I had to admit that I was not ready to let it go. So taking accountability for your life, accepting that all things are called into your experience by you as a catalyst for learning, instantly collapses years of anger and resentment toward people and situations. So when your perspective shifts this way, you can only feel empathy, love, and compassion. Where in your life could you make this shift? So in other words, when you realize that everything is being called in by you, for you, you realize that people and places are really just playing their part. It brings up an amount of empathy for other people in the fact that they weren't doing it to you on purpose. It wasn't malicious. It was for your good. So the next stage is determined curiosity, and integration introduced me into wholeness, which gave me the gift of increased confidence. So a stronger sense of self allowed me to the space to lovingly question my thoughts and my behaviors and my actions. I started to ask everything and look at everything and question. And so the layers began to peel back. Curiosity opened up, understanding. I started to understand myself beneath it all. Events began to constellate from childhood to addiction in surprising ways. And so every emotional trigger was the manifestation of deeply entangled, maladaptive childhood roots. Each question, though, led to more insight and revealed a new layer. And it's hard work. It's painful work. As they say, curiosity killed the cat, but it also killed parts of me that were hiding beneath the pain, and it was controlling my emotions. So clarity kills chaos. So on a side note, I've documented the overall process that I used in identifying triggers and discovering my underlying beliefs. So if you're interested, I'll put the link in the description of this video. It's an 8-step quick guide to identifying the beliefs underneath the triggers and then overriding those beliefs. So if you're interested, it's a free download. You just have to enter your email address. So diving into the depths of your psyche is not easy. But if you can approach each emotion with curiosity, you will find the beliefs that are creating your life experience. Replacing those beliefs puts you in the director's chair. So are you directing your life, or are you the actor reciting the lines? The next phase is rise and shine. And if I were to distill all my journey so far into one realization, my purpose, I came to Earth to learn self-acceptance. And I was born into a sexually traumatized ancestral line. So if you put those two together, it's not hard to imagine why I would end up being addicted to a sex drug, right? It was a natural progression. So in my 5th year, I embraced radical action. I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I did begin that coaching business to help other people. So that decision shed many people, jobs, and places from my life experience, but it made room for my new identity. And now I choose who I am. And these are daily choices. I'm rising from the ashes of this old persona that was built out of my control. and I'm emerging a refined and deliberate creation. You know, as the phoenix rises from the ashes, so can you. And are you prepared to burn everything about yourself and arise a new creature? This is the alchemic process. You know you have a destiny. You know you have a purpose. You can feel it reverberating inside every cell. It is time to heed the call. So what is your first step? So I do have a journaling workbook that goes along with this video. Probably should have mentioned that sooner in the video. It's a free download. The link to it will be in the description as well. I do offer coaching services to help you break free from repeated patterns. If you're interested, all my contact information will be in the description. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to get up to at least 100 subscribers pretty soon. That is okay if I don't. But I would really like to help you through this path. And for me, looking back over the last 5 years, you know, how much of a rich experience and a quicker experience would I had if I'd had a guide. So help me be that for you.